A win, and maybe not perfect, but was that a step in the right direction, and maybe a big step in the right direction?
Yeah, yes, because the expectations were so much different than what we saw during the game. But I think I get more mad because of the other games. So it's even harder to understand some things, you know.
Bruno just said the same thing. If you can play like that, what's been happening before?
Yeah, because this is not about the system. It's not about the technique. It's about something else, and it's hard to understand even for the coach. It was a point. I think they deserve the point, but it's just 1 point, and I think we should get mad and disappointed more than the other day against Newcastle, Bournemouth, Nottingham. More than that days, today we need to be really disappointed.
Have you just said that to your players?
No, because I have to calm down and to say the right things. We are in a difficult moment, but it's hard to don't get really mad.
So there was a moment, it was around about half an hour into the game, where Maguire crashed into a tackle, De Ligt crashed into a tackle. Is it things like that have been missing that are different today? Yeah,
in the way we recover position. So if we play against Liverpool every day, we will do that. So we have to do it against any opponent, and to understand that we need to fight really bad to get out of this situation. And then the way we play in certain moments of the game, we already proven in the other games that we can do it. But the way we were really competitive, that is the crucial thing going forward.
I don't know if you know the phrase, the penny has dropped. Was today the day the penny dropped, as in the players finally understood what you demand of them?
It's not just the players, all the club, all the staff, everybody. I think it's really clear for me. In 2 months, not even 2 months, it was so clear. I'm saying that for so long. So I think is enough, you know. And again, I'm happy for the performance, not happy for the result, but I'm really mad because of the other games.
It felt like we saw the work on the training pitch out there today, especially maybe the early part of the match, the possession you had, the control you had. Is that the result of a few hard days' work at Carrington?
I don't want to say that it was the training that I had. Training and we performed well. I will say it again. Is the way we face the game. Is the way we are competitive. Not just the training. Of course, we are going to improve with training, but I don't want to use that. Is the way we face the game, and that you don't need training.
Okay, so what happened today that must happen against Arsenal, that must happen again against Southampton?
You can ask any fan. You can ask any person inside this speech. They will say the same thing. The way we will fight, the way we will face the opponent, the way we will believe, the way we go for the second ball, second phases. Sometimes goal kick, we kick the ball for the other side of the half of the opponent to fight for the ball. It's so clear that anybody can answer that question.
And I know you like the little details sometimes. So I noticed today that Luke Shaw has travelled with the team. Mason Mount has travelled with the team. When Zirkzee went to warm up, he got a big round of applause from the away fans. Are these little details that help you on the path?
Yeah. They are so clear. I don't need to say anything. You notice, the fans notice. So I think is really important. And today I feel that the players really want it. And the important thing is not to tomorrow relax, forget, and then in the next game return to the same behavior. I will do everything, more than the system that you guys are talking about. More than that, I will try to remember these players that we need to suffer in the football match. Suffer is part of our job.
So lastly then, today could be important if it's the start of something.
Of course. If tomorrow we relax, is the start of the same thing. So it's also my job. So I'm talking here, but it's also my job. But I guarantee you, I am really trying on the basics, and so we have to move on. Congratulations to the lads for the performance, not for the result.
Yeah, this is the most angry I've seen you.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes everybody's angry with my players, and I have to do the opposite. Today, everybody's going to say that the lads did everything right, and I'm allowed to be upset today. Okay. Thank you.
Well done.
Bruno Fernandes. Lisandro Martinez! Works last back. McAllister. Gakpo! Fabulous goal! Could come down here for Salah, and there are handball questions.
I think his hand was high and it hit his hand, I think. I think he could be in trouble, was my initial reaction.
Mo Salah! Again from Garnacho. Garnacho's cross, Ahmad! Well, that shakes it up again! Fernandes, this is Joshua Zirkzee! Maguire! Has cleared the crossbar.
Painful watching it again, isn't it, with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, who've now joined us. And it's a good job, Gary, that the game was on after all, because Manchester United produced a performance which Ruben Amorim seemed to dismiss any kind of praise in that interview with Patrick Davison. But do you think it was a change in what we've seen from them?
Oh, massive change. It was the best performance, I think, under Ruben Amorim, maybe all season by a mile, to come to Anfield. The best team in the league this year. It surpasses that victory at City the other week. City obviously in a bad moment, and the way in which the game went, you know, they were a little bit fortunate to get the victory in the end, United. But I thought today they were magnificent from minute one. They fully deserved their victory. No, we were expecting the worst. There's no Manchester United fan woke up this morning and wasn't thinking the worst was going to happen today, and probably vice versa. Liverpool fans thinking exactly the opposite. I thought we were absolutely brilliant. I thought Mainu, Ugarte, Fernandes control midfield, and Gravenberch, Curtis Jones and McAllister have been outstanding all season. They've overrun teams in there, and I thought they really did well, those three. Backline did well, but I thought those three were the standout players. I thought it was an outstanding performance, yeah.
Does that 90 minutes change the way that you think about Manchester United under Ruben Amorim?
Not really. In that, there's a lot of talking about the system. That's almost felt like the big talking point. You've got to change the system. I didn't think that was the case at all. I just think they were so bad against Newcastle. A lot of that was to do with the manager. I think the way the team he set up and the players that he put in there. But for this system to work, or the fall down of it is there's space at times. The two central midfield players can be exposed, but you need help from the two attacking midfield players to come back and help, or the defenders have got to jump into midfield and be aggressive. I think that was a big change. We didn't see that on Monday night, but you saw Maguire at times. Martin has been really aggressive, and at times Fernandes and Ahmad actually coming back and helping the two central midfield players. So I knew Manchester United would be a lot better. I still expected Liverpool to win the game, but I must say I was frustrated coming to the game, listening to even sort of friends and family, people around the ground talking not about beating Manchester United, about how many Liverpool were going to score. And that happened last season going into the game, and this game finished 0-0. I think Jurgen Klopp was really frustrated with the reaction of Liverpool supporters last season, that everyone was sort of downbeat about sort of the game finishing 0-0. And I just think it's a little lesson to us all, because it felt like in that first half the players were like that. It felt like the atmosphere was like that. And it wasn't until Liverpool went behind that I felt like I was in Anfield watching Liverpool v Manchester United. And I just think subconsciously a little bit, the players and everyone around Liverpool maybe got a little bit carried away with the fact how poor Manchester United were on Monday night.
Is that the expectations now? They're doing so well. Is that part of the challenge from now, Jamie, going forward?
Yeah.
They are expected to win every game now, maybe, yeah?
Yeah, I just felt... I just think Anfield at its best is sort of when it's energetic, Liverpool are, you know, picking second balls. In the first half, I don't think there was one time where United were keeping the ball and Liverpool won it and went quickly, and you felt like the crowd got up. It felt like it was Liverpool were always a yard short.
There's something in a few first halves here.
Yeah, I think definitely this manager's sort of style is slightly different to Jurgen Klopp, so there's a little bit of that in it. There's no doubt about that. It's not as much gung-ho and going after teams. It's trying to get maybe a little bit more balance. That's helped Liverpool defensively. The big worry for me now at the moment is Liverpool are starting to concede goals. Now, I think Liverpool are still the best team in this league. I still think they've got a lot more goals in the team and more attacking talent than Arsenal have. But I think if you were Arsenal watching that, the thing that would give you a little bit of a lift is the fact Liverpool didn't win. But you're sort of seeing Liverpool concede goals, concede chances. And for me, people are saying Arsenal need to sign a goal scorer. Liverpool need to sign a fullback. in January for me. And
On which side?
No, I think at left back. For me, I think obviously Trent was really poor today, but Conor Bradley came in. I think Trent will be a lot better than that. Conor Bradley come back, I think is fantastic. I just think Andy Robertson, who's an absolute legend, love him to bits, he's just hanging on in every game now, and I don't think Tsimikas is quite probably the standard to come in and replace him. And I think if Liverpool could get a left back in January, I think that would put them in a really strong position to go on and win the league.
Daniel, is there a question today around the focus of Trent Alexander-Arnold?
No, I wouldn't say. Sure, he's a professional guy. Always is committed. So it's not his personality to not be focused on the game. Just didn't perform to his level. That's all it was. Sometimes as a player, you have games like that where you're just not on it, and it's not your day. And today was one of those for Trent.
I thought he was really poor today. I don't think the game could have gone much worse for him, because there was definitely going to be focus on him. I think I mentioned him before the game. I think Gary spoke about him before the game, and I was expecting Trent to put in that a performance we've seen so often here, where he almost dominates the game from right back. He's almost a playmaker. I felt the fact of Manchester United's system had played into his hands, to be a lot of space for him to get his head up, put crosses in, combine with Mo Salah, switch the play. I thought he'd be thinking, everybody's talking about me negatively, actually, Liverpool supporters on the back of Real Madrid putting a bid in. I was expecting a really big performance, and yeah, he was poor defensively. Listen, we've seen that before. But there was nothing actually going forward in terms of holding the ball, really. So I know what you're saying, Daniel. Only he knows if the talk affected him. But the fact that he was so poor in the first game after Real Madrid put a bid in for him only tells me that it must have affected him.
United definitely targeted him, didn't it?
Yeah.
United would have looked at him. It's offensive. We said it for years. But what gets Trent away with is defensive poor players. He's brilliant going forward, but when he's not brilliant going forward and they're running at him, I thought he would have been taken off earlier. I know it's a big call for the manager, but United were looking at him going, we're getting so much joy down that side.
I think the manager, and I've said this so often, he's brilliant at making changes, whether at half-time. You go back to the first game of the season, he brings Kwanzaa off for Kanate at half-time. He identifies things in the first half and he changes it. I think he got that wrong today. I think he took too long to take Trent off.
Would you have taken him off at half-time?
Not at half-time. I just almost said, we need it. I'll see how the first sort of 10 or 15 minutes go. And then as soon as Manchester United got that first goal, I think Trent should have come off a lot earlier.
Daniel, go on.
What I was going to say was, though, we even heard in the manager's interview after the game where he talked about Gravenberch not helping in certain moments. Of course, Trent can defend better. We know that. But I'm not saying that he performed well defensively today. But there were moments where he had no help too. And as a defender, of course, you left in one-on-one situation. And Jamie, I'm sure you've experienced it, where you want your winger to come back and help you, or you have the midfielder
do you
on
just
that
have
side.
those games, or is it about, in terms of the focus, is it just bad timing for Trent?
I think the bid from Real Madrid is bad timing for him. Now, I don't know what's going to happen with Trent Alexander-Arnold, whether he's going to leave Liverpool and go to Real Madrid, or whether he's not. But certainly, if you've got that going into a big game, and you're a local lad as well, that won't be easy. The distractions of having all that noise. Real Madrid are a hell of an animal. I thought it was insulting, to be fair, from Real Madrid. I mean, they behave like that sometimes. They think they can get what they want. But Liverpool, are a football club of immense stature. They're never going to sell Trent Alexander-Arnold for 20 million quid to you in January. So you're taking the mick a little bit, you know what I mean? You're taking the mickey out of us. So I think that will have probably unnerved him this week. You can imagine his agents, his family all say, what's happening, Trent? You can imagine that noise going on in his head before this game, which I don't think would have been helpful. I know that footballers...
Yeah, but they would have known what was happening.
OK, so you said that up there on the... Sorry, just to let you know, we're just on a podcast where he said he thinks that Trent's people will have invited the bid from Real Madrid. I think that's quite a big suggestion to make, personally.
Well, what I'm saying is, we're not naive enough. These two lads have been involved in transfers. We haven't, but I'm not naive enough to think that Real Madrid would put a bid in January for a player who they can get for nothing in sort of 4 months.
Why would Trent's people say put a bid in when they know it's going to be turned down?
Do you seriously believe that they don't know nothing about... So this bid comes in and they're sat at home, see it on Sky Sports News.
I know they know about it, but why would Trent Alexander-Arnold's people think it's a good idea for him, knowing Liverpool are going to say no?
Because he's getting a lot of criticism for the fact that he might leave for free. Now, if Trent put a bid in January and then Liverpool don't accept it, maybe they can say at the end of the season, well, you were offered 30 or 40 million. It's just, for me, it was almost to buy a little bit of time at the end of the season when if he goes for free, that they can say, well, Liverpool were offered 20, 30 million in January. There was no way Liverpool...
Daniel, do you think it's realistic, Daniel?
It's a lose-lose either way you go. If you leave for free or if you leave now, it's a lose-lose. Obviously, everyone that's involved in a football club should want him to stay. In these moments when a player is, running his contract down, and I've been in a situation when I was at Man City as a young player, when you're in these moments and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I want to stay at the football club. The club clearly known all this time that Trent Alexander-Arnold's contract was running down. We're now going to put it all on Trent and make out as if it's Trent's fault that Real Madrid have put a bid in when his contract has 6 months left. He's one of the best players in the world in his position, as is Mo Salah, as is Virgil van Dijk. Neither of the three of them should be in this predicament. So we can't say,
but presumably,
Trent...
Daniel, they've had opportunities to sign a contract at some stage.
Dave, we don't know that. We don't know if contracts have been offered and contracts were rejected. Obviously Jurgen's contract and him coming out last season saying, hey guys, I'm leaving. That was a spanner in the works for everybody, and I think the club were at panic stations. So they're probably thinking, okay, our priority right now is to find the best manager to replace Jurgen Klopp. We'll put the contracts on the back burner. Maybe we can find, we'll sort the guys out later on. But for me, to leave these three players in a predicament like this,
I said that to him up there. The club obviously have let these contracts all run down simultaneously, all three together. Three of the best players in the club, probably the most valuable three players in the club. And the problem is with football clubs, because I know I own a football club, when you've signed a player or you've brought a player through the ranks, it hurts you sometimes when you feel like you've got to pay for the transfer fee again. Do you understand what I mean by that? So like Mo Salah now, the economics of Mo Salah is he wants a 3-year deal at 400 grand a week, which is 20 million a year, which is 60 million. But that's what he wants. He probably deserves that and should get it, because to replace Mo Salah, you probably have to pay 60, 70 million for a fee and 10, 15 million a year, so it'll cost you 120 million.
And there's no guarantee that player will come in and do what Salah's doing.
And for Trent, as being a young player who's come through the ranks at a club, you almost in some ways sometimes can get a little bit bullied, by the fact that, you've got to sign for us, you owe us, we brought you through. There's a bit of that as well in the club. I'm not saying Liverpool are doing that, but there is probably another side to the story. But all I'm saying is the reason that he's been bad out there today can be one of two reasons. Well, three reasons. One, he has had games like that before and he can get done defensively. Secondly, he could just have a bad day. And thirdly, he could have just had all that noise in his head all week and distraction and just not been at it.
But you talk about him being a top player, and we know defensive is not great, but the manager made the point, you made it there, about, he's been left 1v1 and he needs help around it. But at the highest level, the lads have done it. You will be left 1v1s. That's part of being a top defender. There will be situations in games where you're pushing or you're pressing to get an equaliser, and you have to deal with 1v1, so that shouldn't be a big panic for a player.
The thing out there is he's left 1v1 with Dalot. It wasn't Ryan Giggs.
Dalot in the first minute of the game, who's been turning back on his right foot and passing it round the way all week, went straight for him. The only thing I would say today about Trent Alexander-Arnold is I was disappointed with his defending. I mean, he didn't defend well, but he's done that before. I thought his passing, his forward play was probably the worst I've seen it. Because if you think about that pass at the end into midfield that obviously United get the goal from, he doesn't normally make so many mistakes on the ball. He's normally a bigger threat with his crossing, so I thought he was disappointing on the ball.
Well, his contract situation, but I don't understand. There's a lot of negativity and local fans will be having a go at him, but if they don't agree a contract and he leaves, and the amount of games he's played for Liverpool is well over 300, he's won titles, and if Liverpool win, why can't everyone show a little bit of class and say, listen, we can't agree a deal, but you're 26, 27, all the best to you.
Daniel, is that realistic?
Why can't that happen? Why can't the club say, well, we can't agree a deal with you, you've given us great service, he's not jumped ship after playing for 2 seasons. Okay, the fact he's a local lad, but there's a business side to it as well.
You're right, but Liverpool, I mean, there's, say, Carragher and Steven Gerrard, who were Liverpool sort of they were in the city. You felt as though they were almost like they couldn't leave, almost like lads that you knew already. Then you have lads like Michael Owen, who was sort of slightly different in that they see this journey of going playing for Real Madrid and playing in different parts of the world. Beck's at United was at United from his age of 13, but he wouldn't be where he is today if he hadn't left and gone and played for Real Madrid or AC Milan or some lads. See the part of their career. So Liverpool's part of their career, Manchester United's part of their career, and it's brilliant, and they love it. But then they want to go and explore. They want to go and do things. I think personally, when I look at Trent, he looks like a lad that wants to go and explore Real Madrid. He wants to go and play in different parts of the world, and that's what.
But their argument is also that they're not getting any money from. But what about the service he's given
exactly.
us? And he might have been underpaid as a local.
We had this discussion, I think, with Jamie Redknapp a couple of weeks ago at the Tottenham game. There's sometimes frustration from Liverpool support. He's going to leave for free. He came for free. I've got no problem with that. It's like selling Virgil van Dijk in the summer for 75 million. You're breaking even. And again, it's his choice. So when I'm talking about Trent, I'm disappointed with the Real Madrid stuff coming out and that being the focus ahead of a big game, because all I think about, and the most important thing, is Liverpool.
Before Madrid, you had a problem with the situation as well. I'm saying...
Good point, Daniel.
I'm saying that...
So what was the problem?
The problem was that, how things are going and, we're hearing rumours and the contracts and the this and the that. And I'm saying...
Daniel, tell me what the problem was. That was just waffle.
What I'm saying, this is a simple question I have for you. Are you saying you are happy with Trent leaving for free, or are you saying you want money for him? Which one is it? You can't stay on the fence, Jamie, and say you either want him to stay and you want to sign a contract, or you want him to leave now and you want money. But you can't have it both ways. That's football. The fans. I'm a fan of Liverpool too. I love Trent Alexander-Arnold.
When did I say I wanted him to be sold now for money? And when did I say I was unhappy? No, stop. When did I say I was unhappy with him going for free? I have never, ever said I had a problem with him going for free. I've constantly said and defended him to other Liverpool fans and on this show that the lad came for nothing, and if he leaves for nothing, there should be no criticism for that. In terms of selling him right now, I'm disappointed because I know how transfer works, how football works. He will have known Real Madrid are putting a bid in. Real Madrid can do what they want. My problem is Liverpool are going for a league title here. It's January, and he will have known that, and that will kick up a fuss ahead of a big game.
It's the same thing as Salah. It's the same thing for Salah, though. You can't say one thing for Trent, a local lad who should be revered by the fans, like yourself.
I had to go with Salah.
No, I'm saying like yourself, like Steven Gerrard. Trent is one of you guys. He's someone who's been at the club from the academy. He's come through to the age of 27 years of age. Yeah. He's at a point now where the club have allowed his contract to get to this point. Okay, it wasn't Trent's fault.
We know
so what there is, if Real Madrid decide, you know what, we're going to test the waters, they might have had a flirt up. We know our football. We know football. We know what's happening. They might have had a flirt up. That's not a problem.
My only problem with Trent, in terms of if he leaves, it's not anger or I'm not happy with him. It's probably disappointment, because when we've talked about Michael Owen going or Steve McManaman going, Liverpool weren't a top team. So you're thinking, OK, we're going to the biggest club in the world. The disappointment for me as a local player is that Trent is a local player. He's a Liverpool fan. Liverpool are on the verge of maybe this season equaling Manchester United in league titles, maybe winning another European Cup. He could be the captain in 2 or 3 years and the guy who lifts these trophies. So Liverpool supporters will be disappointed, and that's where my disappointment comes from. If you're a Liverpool fan, that's like your chance to put the club... he will think differently. But if I was in his position, that would be my mentality. I can put Liverpool in a position where we go above United in league titles. I could lift the trophy.
So you're saying you want him to stay and you want him to sign a contract?
So Gary, could I just ask Daniel on this? Is there a price where it becomes attractive then, right now, in January?
No, what I'm saying is, if the club want the player to stay, they offer him the money that they feel his agents have been asking for. Clearly, they've not met that value, because if they have, he'd have signed a dotted line. The same goes for Mo. The same goes for Verge.
You don't sell him now. You won't sell him in.
As well, what's your take on all that we've seen?
Yeah, especially because they got a big chance just before the end. We also feel a bit relieved, but that might not be the story of the game, in my opinion. I think over the whole course of the game, we created much more chances than them. But being 1-0 down, then 2-1 up, and conceding such a big chance just before the end also feels that maybe a point is something to take. But I think if I look it back tomorrow, I think I would have hoped for more.
What did you make of the performance up until 1-0 down? Because it almost felt like that sparked you into if I can say, a proper Liverpool performance.
I'm not sure about that. I think if you look the game back tomorrow, you see the first 20-25 minutes we had 3 very good chances, open chances, really well played. But yeah, we play against very good individuals, very good players. I've said it many times now, and I think you could see it today again. It's also a chance for them against us to show themselves again, more than against Wolves at home or other games. So now they can compete with the best players in the league, and then you can see how that they also have very good players.
Yeah, I think you always knew it would be that kind of game, didn't you? As opposed to the game that maybe some fans expected, some of us in the media expected, where it was one-way traffic.
Yeah, I do think we had a lot of ball possession, but the game was played mostly on their half. I think in the end, in the last 15 minutes, you could see how well they could play if they play, because in the first 70-75 they only hit the ball long with Onana. But in the last 15 minutes, when it was so open on both sides, you could see if they were trying to, that they are even better than they maybe know themselves. But for the first 75, I think it was clear that we were more in control of the game than them, which you could also see in the amount of chances we had.
Yeah, and just tell us about the tactical battle, because before the game you weren't 100% sure what to expect from Man United. Formation-wise you were, but you didn't know if they were going to sit in a block or high press. How did you see how that kind of unfolded?
A bit of both. Mostly a low block they had, and sometimes they pressed a bit higher. And normally I've seen them a bit more bring the ball out from the back. Today it was every time when Onana had the ball, they didn't take the risk of build-up. So we weren't surprised with anything they did, because they played this style now for a few weeks. Maybe the only thing that was a bit different than other times is that they didn't do a lot of build-up. They mostly kicked the ball now.
Yeah. If and when they did cause you problems, and certainly the 2 goals, did you feel like a lot of it came down your right today?
Yeah, I think they did. That has also to do with Bruno Fernandes, which is a very, very good player, and he played a very good game today as well. So, and they've shown many times United, if things are really difficult for them, they can show up. They did this in FA Cup final this season against the City away. So, and they did cause us some problems. Dalot was a threat as well on the left side. So, yeah. We are talking about 2 starters of the Portugal national team, and yeah, that's why it's not always easy to prevent them from getting in dangerous situations, which happened a few times today, and unfortunately that led to 2 goals.
Yeah. It did look like an unusually difficult afternoon for Trent, though. Do you think? I mean, there's been noise, a lot of it coming from us around him all season. Do you think that distraction finally got the better of him today?
No, I don't think so. I think Trent has played mostly very good games for this club, and there probably have been games that he wasn't on his best. Close enough to him, so he was sometimes in a 2v1 situation as well. So I would put it more on the quality of Dalot and Bruno Fernandes than that is down to Trent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Arne.
Conversation to be had around Trent Alexander-Arnold and the noise, as Pat says around him, the links with Real Madrid. He's coming to the end of his contract here at Liverpool, and his performance today. We've got Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville joining us shortly, and we'll get into that with them as well. On the style point, Daniel, he raised it about Andre Onana. He said it was a low block from Manchester United today, and unlike usual, Onana went long most of the time. We just checked it. 80% of Onana's passes were long today, compared to the season average of 38. Does that tell a story?
I don't know. I think all in all, regardless of the stats and whatever we want to look at, I think Man United showed up today, and that's the biggest story.
But do you think Liverpool didn't show up?
I don't think they didn't play to their level. I wouldn't say they didn't show up, because I think they showed fight when they went 1-0 down. So in turn, you can say, yes, they didn't perform. But like the manager said in the interview just then, if they take one of those first 3 chances in the first 20 minutes, it could have been a very different result. And Man United then have to show fight. And I don't know if they would have had that fight in them. But when you go 1-0 up, it becomes a very different game, and you have a different level of confidence.
Yeah, but if United certainly learned from earlier in the season. They weren't going to take them chances where Liverpool were pressing them high up the pitch at Old Trafford and won it, and punished them on a number of occasions. So that's credit to United. You're not going to play into Liverpool's hands by playing up and taking silly chances. So I think that was just good tactical play. And if Liverpool are frustrated with that, then so be it. It's up to them to figure it out. But that's just a case of Man United coming here, confidence low. They can't win a game. They got punished heavily early in the season by Liverpool by trying to play out and trying to be too clever. So why the hell would they do that again today? They wouldn't. They obviously learned from it and thought, listen, we're not going to take any chances. We go a bit longer, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Might Liverpool actually reflect that was an important point in the end, a point gained?
Maybe, but I think that
I'm not going to show you the Harry Maguire chance again. Don't worry.
I mean, I think playing against Manchester United is always a big game, regardless of where they are in the league. It's always going to be a tough match, and I think that you would take a point given the how the game went today. Now, prior to the game, of course, you would say Man United would have lost this match, but they performed very well. I've got to give them the credit they deserve versus saying it's about Liverpool, because they just performed really well.
I think actually Liverpool should go the other way and be really upbeat about it. Whatever was the expectation before the game, we thought United would probably get well beaten, but United came here last year and got a result. So this idea, you look where the league table is, and the way Liverpool played okay today.
Yeah.
they were okay, they had chances. The managers had a good chance, but they could have lost it at the end. When you're trying to win league titles, you're obviously going to have your disappointments. You're going to have your days where you turn up and you go, we expect to win here today, and it doesn't happen. That's the whole idea of dropping points. Arsenal probably were disappointed last night. Look where Man City are. Yeah. Chelsea, teams will drop points. But I think the key for Liverpool today was getting something out of the game. Don't lose the game. Take the pluses. United at some stage were going to produce a performance. It happened to be today. But if I was Liverpool and they're in their camp with their manager, their senior players, the message tonight when they're all doing their media stuff is, hey, we'll take it. We'll take a point. It's another game. We'll move on. You look at the league table, what a position they're to be in. The points clear, the goal difference, their attacking players on form. Disappointed a little bit today, but be upbeat about it. The bigger picture, it's another point, the less game. I think it's been not a bad weekend for Liverpool.
Well, there's the voice of experience from someone who's been in this position plenty of times before with Manchester United, of course. But it's an interesting few weeks ahead for Arne Slot and his side with the Carragher Cup. Of course, the start of the FA Cup journey as well. But then two very interesting Premier League games to follow from this one against Manchester United today. Against Forest, the only team to beat them so far. And Forest, as we know, are flying. And Brentford, one of the strongest sides in the Premier League at home.
This is when it gets interesting. This is where, we're going to see Arne Slot and what he's going to bring now. How he's going to get his players firing. Of course, Forest have been very well conceded, very little goals too. And they create so many chances on the counter-attack, and Brentford have players who can hurt you as well. So these two games, although when you look at them on paper and you see the names of the teams, you don't see Chelsea, Man City, all these, you're thinking, Forest, Brentford, yeah, sure, you should get a result. But these are two games where the potential banana skins, mate. So if you're in that Mario Kart, you've got to try and weave and beave and make sure you don't, you know what I mean? It's the truth.
Yeah, obviously there's challenges ahead from, but that's, again, no one gives you a league title.
But is there just a little bit of encouragement for Arsenal tonight?
Oh, there
they
will be
dropped
from
points
other teams,
yesterday?
especially the couple of goals they've given up. And even over the last month, Fulham came here, got 2, they conceded 3 at Spurs. I'm going back a bit further at Newcastle. So they've had their moments where you look, defensively, you do look a little bit sloppy, but they've got that many goals for them. And we asked the question at the start of the season, if you'd offer this to Liverpool, what a position to be in. And look at all the other teams near the top. You'd want to be in Liverpool's camp.
Yeah. I suppose the first question United had to answer, could they get through the first half unscathed, which is what they did. All the goals came in the second period. And the next question, could they actually then break Liverpool down? How did they do that, Roy?
By taking them opportunities, and obviously by pressing and good play. And we see here, Martinez obviously getting it high up the pitch, and Bruno, we know Bruno's quality. They lack that little bit of intensity. Martinez, nice little side ball, and you're thinking, can you finish? Gary mentioned Giggsy's. Listen, brilliant finish into the roof of the net. Trent's probably could have done better there, but Liverpool just lack that intensity for these few seconds. You can't switch off. Look, they're just passive. They're all watching each other. Look at Bruno. Look at Trent. Make a tackle. Far too easy, but brilliant finish. And United, happy days. They couldn't believe it. Great reaction.
Finish was outstanding, to be fair. I didn't like the Ryan Giggs shout, though, because he only beat about 9 players for his goal. But, I mean, it was a fantastic finish. To do that as a defender as well, like, the power on it...
Do you think that's what he's just concentrating on in this position?
For sure. And I think when you got that time to think what you're going to do, it's almost like, some players, snatch at it or whatever it may be, but the concentration he showed as a defender as well. I mean, I'm saying defenders can't score goals, but that's an absolutely top draw finish.
Are you thinking if you hit through this flush, you're beating most keepers, whether they are world class or not?
Yeah, I think the modern players, the power on the balls, I think if you do get great connection on like you did, it is very difficult to stop.
But it sparked something in Liverpool as well. That lead for Manchester United, as joyous as it was for them in that moment, lasted just 7 minutes, Daniel.
It sure did, yeah. And I think, in these moments, as Man United, you want to try and now gain a bit of control and calm yourselves down. But you see here, the ball from McAllister was brilliant, and De Ligt is sliding in there. He's going up against his teammate. Ugarte's position in here, of course, but for Gakpo to chop De Ligt there in the box, he shouldn't be sliding in like that. But the finish, wow! I mean, the ability he showed here, but just this moment here where it's like you don't need to be sliding in. You should also know your mate is your national team teammate. So you're thinking...
That's probably why he's desperate to stop him
scoring exactly
in the first
that.
place.
But the finish, wow.
Yeah, I think we sometimes forget, obviously we finished a few years ago, the power now that these players have in the shot, it's just unstoppable.
Just on that, if you're De Ligt in that position, what should you be doing rather than diving in like that? Because everyone said you shouldn't be doing it, but what should you actually do?
Your mindset should be, obviously you've got to try and stop the shot, but also thinking if you work with him at international level, know that he's capable of cutting back as well. So you've got to multitask. Don't just sell yourself, because it's still a hell of an angle. If you stop it, if he thinks he's going to shoot from there, you've got to say, you've got to beat my keeper from there.
Yep.
But because he opens it up, obviously, and then it's game over, unless he's going to hit the target.
I'm not a defender, right? But he's a right-footed winger playing on the left. I want to go on my right foot. That's where I want to go. If you show me line, I have to cross it. But if you give me the opportunity to cut inside, the whole goal is there for me.
Yeah, he should obviously want him shooting with his left from there and to go. Do you fancy beating our goalkeeper from there? No, but as soon as he cuts back in, he's in trouble. But United never got set properly when they cleared it from the first free kick.
Smart finish from Gakpo, and a poor few minutes in truth for Matthias de Ligt, who's then penalised for a handball 10 minutes after that. Do you think it's just instinct to this position, Daniel?
Yeah, it's a strange position for his arm to be in, which is obviously why the penalty was given. It seems like a reaction, almost like, he turns his back a little bit and his arm goes up. It's unfortunate for him, obviously, because he didn't mean to do it, but it happens. Your arms are going to go in places they shouldn't be. And in the box as a defender, it's important for you to not leave your arms in positions like that.
Deemed to be in an unnatural position. I'm not sure
as soon as the referee
against
obviously goes over, of course, a penalty. It's harsh, but it's the right decision.
Yeah,
it's tough on him.
And there was quite the kerfuffle before the penalty. We knew who was going to take it. It was just a matter of when he was going to get the ball in his hands.
Of course. And the keeper got his hand to it as well. But the power of Mo is never in doubt, was it? Mo is that guy, man. He really is that guy.
16th goal against Manchester United.
He's him.
He's 31 goal involvements already this season. The celebration was quite something as well. It went on for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I know, but you got to lap it up, haven't you? Look at the smile on his face, man. Look at the smile on his face. He's just like, you know who I am. You know what I do. You know it's me again.
It's amazing. We talk about him a lot, but there's not many players out in world football who can guarantee you the amount of goals and assists he gets. It's just fantastic.
Yep, there we go. Lap it up again. Just smile, enjoy it.
Is he lapping it up because it's not going to last for too much longer, Daniel?
I don't think so, man. I don't know. I just feel as if he's enjoying himself more than I've seen in the last few years. And I think he's just enjoying it. I think this is the moment where...
A bit over the top when he sits down, but we laugh.
Yeah, that was a bit extra, though. I can't even lie. That was a little bit extra.
It was amazing, the contrast, actually, the silence before he stepped up to take the kick to the roar when that went in. And huge relief around Anfield. But another twist in the game, because the roar, with 10 minutes to go, came purely from the Manchester United section. And this was their first shot since they actually scored, Roy.
Yeah, of course. And they recovered well. And you're talking about Liverpool stopping crosses. You're talking about opposite fullbacks tucking in, opposite wingers getting in. So United just about deserved this, just from being tenacious against sub coming on. Robertson will be disappointed. They'll be disappointed with the cross there. I talk about intensity and just smelling danger. And Robertson just on his heels. But like all good wide players, coming in from the opposite side. Does he hit it cleanly? Just enough connection on it. And again, nobody saw that.
Do you think
coming.
Ahmad's got something going on, Daniel?
He sure does.
A player that United can build around?
Yeah, he's growing in confidence, and I think this is probably the first time where he feels like he's a Manchester United player, and he feels as if a manager trusts his abilities.
And what difference does that make to you as a footballer?
I think you get to play your game, and I don't think you doubt yourself when you're going on the pitch thinking, I could be coming off at 55 minutes here, so I've got to do everything in 45. And I think as a young player specifically, when you start getting games and you realise the manager's starting to trust you, then you start to realise, like, OK, I am supposed to be here. This is my moment. I can take shots when I want. I can dribble. And the players are trusting him too, which is good. And you can see that he feels like, OK, I'm the man now. I'm going to be playing next week. I have to perform, though. And in the big games against Manchester City, he's shown up. And today against Liverpool, he's shown up again.
Like all good players, he's affecting games. That's what good players do. You remember him after the game. You remember him doing something. And every time he plays now, he comes off the pitch, you go, listen, I like that.
Yeah.
There were still chances to win this game for either side. That was not the end of the action by any means. First, it was Liverpool striking out, trying to find another winning goal. You think, Daniel, that they had a sense they were going to win this?
They did, and firstly, that was a fantastic challenge by Euro. Great challenge by the young defender. Good ability here. I thought he was going to cross this, but it was actually a shot, which was...
You're confident he's shooting here?
Yeah, for sure. Because when you see... I'm looking at it from thinking, you should be cutting this back, you've got players open, but if you look at this, he's actually seen the keeper in the corner of his eyes thinking, I'm going to try a cheeky shot here. Is he going to gamble? He doesn't gamble, it was a good save from the goalkeeper.
And then Virgil van Dijk from the set piece.
We spoke about United.
Stretching a bit, Roy.
Yeah, his movement is actually brilliant. If you watch him here, he's like a proper striker. Obviously, he's getting wrestled there. But just a little step here. Look, everyone else is looking at it. He's on the move, just stretching for it. And unlucky, we know how United are poor defending corners. That was a huge moment.
Well, it wasn't the only huge moment left in the game. At this point, I think everyone's looking to see when the whistle was going to be blown. But there was still one final twist in this game. What a ball that turned out to be as well at the back.
We'd pretend he meant it. But Xerxes, he gets in his position. He ends up doing the right thing.
Do you think he ever thought about shooting Xerxes in the first instance?
I'm not sure. But if you look at the angle, I think the pass he ends up giving
Would have
Maguire.
been tight, the offside call,
Maybe we give him the benefit of the doubt. Listen, his confidence wouldn't be sky high after getting taken off the other night. So
what about the ball he plays into Maguire?
Do you know what? I don't care. Daniel's saying you can give him a better pass. Listen, know your players. He's not going to give you his confidence is sky high.
What do you mean by it, Daniel?
Just don't bobble it into him. You've got all the time in the world to cut the ball back with Premier League footballers playing for Manchester United.
Yeah, and he's passing it to a Premier League international player.
You've got to just
know
keep
your players.
the ball.
But when it's coming to you, know your players. He's not going to give you the perfect pass. Expect the bobble into you. But what you have to do when and obviously it's Harry Maguire.
I'm not expecting a bubble into me. If you're in that position,
I would from him. I would. You'd have to. Again, it's called knowing your players. He's not going to zip it into you perfectly, is it? But you got to hit the target, Harry. No problem.
It's a 3-yard.
We saw players earlier in the day. Today, you said about strikers. Just hit the target hard enough. Hit the target. If it gets blocked, it's no problem.
Fair enough.
We saw Ipswich in the first game.
No, because he passed it as if he was cutting back like he was going to shoot. And it's like, you're a player who can just simply keep the ball on the ground.
Yeah, but
it's a goal.
He's not that good. His confidence is not that high.
Confidence has got to be shot, hasn't it, Daniel?
It's not about confidence. We're talking about an international football player. I'm not piling onto Xerxes here saying, look, you know, you're miles off it.
If that ball came to you, would you fancy your chances hitting the target?
Yes, of course I would.
But he's not Harry Maguire.
I'm not Harry Maguire,
that's
the point.
So someone has to go on Harry Maguire a little bit. You're not going to get the perfect pass. Listen, last kick of the game. If you get that in training, you go, listen, hit the target. I don't care if it's Harry Maguire is an international player. If Harry was sitting here, you go, what do you think, Harry? You go, I should hit the target. 100%, whatever. The pass not been 100%, right?
I've missed loads of those in training and in games.
I'm surprised at that.
No, for real.
When his head hits the pillow tonight, I mean, Harry Maguire is going to be thinking about that.
You'll be gutted, 100%.
It'll be a big 100%. Pillow as well, I'm telling you. Harry's done well. I don't want to be knocking him. You're going, listen, and it's easy when you're sitting up here watching it, but what you'd say to him is, get over it and hit the target. And Harry's scored goals before.
Technique
he doesn't know.
Side volley.
Let's not be too hard on Harry. Hit the target.
If anything, you go side volley. He went side foot. But we're talking about defenders, that's why I said...
So was I right then?
No,
we got there.
I'm saying Martinez on the other side. If that falls to Martinez, maybe it's a goal.
What a moment at the end of a sensational second half here at Anfield. Let's get some Liverpool reaction now. Alexis McAllister with Patrick Davison.
When you're as good as you guys are and you drop points, obviously disappointed. How did you see the game itself and the performance?
Yeah, the result is not good enough. The performance wasn't as good as we wanted. But yeah, at the end it was a fair result. I think we didn't play as we wanted. We conceded too many chances. We had our opportunities to score more goals, but that's football, and I think it's a fair result.
Why was the performance not quite as you wanted, do you think?
I don't know. I think the effort was there, the mentality was there because we came back. But when you are winning 2-1, 75 minutes, you have to defend better, and we didn't do it. So, have to think about it, improve the things that we did wrong, and move on.
It was almost like it took to go 1-0 down to really spark you to your best level. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I think it happened many times to us. I think we started games where we are losing, and after that we react. So that's not what we want. So that's why I say that these are the things that we have to think about it and improve. But at the end, it's football. As I said, the effort was there, the mentality is there. So we are not worried at all.
I wonder if the noise around the match today was quite difficult to deal with. There was a lot of, Liverpool won't just win; they'll win big. And for a player, it's not a great mindset to be in, is it? And I'm sure you weren't, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bother me. I think that's the way football is. That's the way the show is, and that's as I say, it's the show. We don't think about it. We just try to do our job to win games. And as I said, today it wasn't our best day, so that's why we couldn't win.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care.